Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to the NovaWrap, your weekly one-stop place for all things simulation related and news and wrap-ups from around the internet. Well folks, look, we're gonna start with a particularly sad non-simulation related topic this week. Sadly this week we've seen a couple to two major instances with passenger aircraft. Very sad news. The first and probably the most famous or infamous, probably would be a better word, across the airways at the moment, is the fate of Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, MH17, en route from Amsterdam back to Kuala Lumpur. So we'll cover this one off. It is an absolutely tragic situation. It really is. The initial reports and so far, but reading, sort of trying to amass all the claims and counterclaims that seem to be going on at the moment, and all the various political intrigue that any such disaster seems to sadly always be steeped in, is that it appears that it was shot down by a surface to air missile, although there are claims saying it was intercepted and various other things. The general consensus seems to be that it was shot down by a surface to air missile while flying over Ukrainian airspace. There is sort of discussion over whether the pilots failed to follow directions, or whether ATC directed them into out of the safe flight corridors they were there to use. But at the end of the day, despite whatever finger pointing may go on, the sad reality is that 283 passengers and 15 crew all perished in this tragic accident. It's also pretty brutally hard for Malaysian Airlines as well, having just starting to get people sort of slowly coming back to and sort of starting to recover after the disappearance of MH370 earlier in the year. To be rocked by this tragedy as well is yeah, it is a problem for them as well. And it is something that's I guess what I'm trying to say is that not taking it away anything from the tragedy felt by the families and those who know the people who are on board. It's just a bad situation for everyone, really, to be honest. But for those who are trying to blame Malaysian, don't. Because at the end of the day, they're not the only airline that was flying over Ukrainian airspace. Ukraine has been steeped in a murky mess of a borderline civil war slash Cold War getting hot kind of scenario for the last several months, and airlines were still routinely flying over their airspace as you would normally do, and the sad reality is the fact that if you fly over a war zone, you run a risk. You really do, and it happens routinely, more often than people would probably want to know. So it's just a very unfortunate timing that eventually this happened, and it happened to the poor 298 souls aboard that aircraft. So don't blame Malaysian for it. It's a tragic case of the wrong place, wrong time. So yeah, that's the best thing. Well, not best thing. Is the only thing I really want to say is that don't blame Malaysian for this. Look at the people who locked the missile on, who set the missile station up, and that's what you have to look at. Don't blame Malaysia. Anyway, so yes, very tragic news for that one, and coming hot on the heels of that as well, um, we've had another incident as well in Burkina Faso, heading to Algiers in Algeria. A McDonnell Douglas MD-80 crashed in bad weather, also with losing all 116 souls on board. So it has not been a good day for, a good week for aviation this week. But for those who sort of bandy around the, oh, you shouldn't fly, oh, it's dangerous to fly, yeah, okay, you take more risk stepping outside your damn front door every morning. You really do. You really do. So some very interesting statistics that you are, you will have a chance, the odds of being in just even on an airline that's involved in a fatal accident, let alone being being actually you actually being the fatality in a fatal accident. It's over. Just being just being on the aircraft is an odd of 1 in 3.4 million for the major world airlines, and your odds of being actually dying on a airline flight is 1 in 4.7 million. It's pretty phenomenal odds. So yeah, you've got way more chance of actually being killed by a ladder, pretty much, than actually dying because of an aviation-related tragic event. So, yeah, for all those people trying to bandy around and saying that air travel is not safe, yeah, no, just no. It is very safe, and I myself, I'll actually be flying very shortly, actually, so on the trip. So I have no qualms about it. But anyway. Alright, well, I'm going to wrap up the depressing things there, and we're going to move on to the actual weekly wrap for these last few minutes on what's been happening in the simulation world. So, simulation announcements, nothing really major this week. So Alabeo has released their version of the DA40 from Diamond. That is now available either from all good flight sim retailers. Beyond that, we did have another recent release as well from the terrain and add-on powerhouse that is Orbx and Full Terrain. They did finally release their open land class for Europe, so that is now available. Now, overall, it's received a predominantly very positive response from people who've partaken and enjoyed the additions to their flight simming experience in FSX and P3D. In fact, it actually, according to a press release from the Orbx CEO, it actually their first 3 days sales outsurpassed their first 3 days sales for FTX Global. So it really goes to show the quality of the products that Orbx are producing, and the fact that there is a lot of goodwill has been generated by their customer base. That's good. He did actually, as part of the press release, John Van Emmer, the Orbx CEO, did announce that they are working. They have had a few reports of some areas and some that might not be accurate, and so they are asking for assistance from anyone who is using it to actually go through and provide any of the information like that. So any areas that are blatantly missing the correct sort of industrial areas or cities or towns or whatever, to please assist them, and so they can patch it ready for version 1.1 and get it released as that as well. Also, he made an interesting post just discussing around what does a land class actually do, and a bit of confusion going on with that. And you know what? I'll be honest. When I sort of first started all this stuff, I would definitely sign up for one of those people. Actually, you know, if I'm to be brutally honest, I'm still probably in that category, just not quite as bad as I used to be. So there you go. And it was good that he took it with a bit of smile and a bit of a joke as well, but still being serious. So I did appreciate that. That was pretty cool. In other simulation news, non-flight sim related, we've got the Dovetail guys have released yet another new add-on for their train simulator series. So they've got another new train to come out for that one as well. Plus also the first of X-Plane 10 Global's paid DLC has made an appearance on Steam. So we have the Amsterdam Airport has been launched and is currently 20% off as sort of a launch special. So interesting to see how sales go for that. Now it's on Steam. And so a note to the good Dovetail guys, you might want to think about getting FSX on Steam sooner rather than later before you lose any options that you may have actually gained from this. So there you go. Well, folks, that wraps up the NovaWrap for this week. Thanks very much for joining us. As always, you can stay in touch with me and stay in touch with what I'm doing on here on the YouTube channel by clicking like and or subscribe, as well as you can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. So don't forget, guys, keep in touch. And if you've got any comments or anything you'd like to see on the channel or any breaking news stories you'd like me to cover, don't forget to let me know. Alright, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.